Dancing Princesses. There once was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They slept all in one room, in 12 beds, and every night when they went to bed, the king locked the door and bolted it. Yet in the morning, when he unlocked the door, he found his daughters' shoes worn to pieces, as if they had been dancing all night. And nobody could explain how it happened or where the princesses went to dance. So the king issued a proclamation saying that anyone who could discover where the princesses danced at night might have the one that he liked best for his wife and become king in his turn. But anyone who tried and failed to learn the secret after 3 days and nights would be put to death. Soon afterward, a prince came and offered himself to the task. He was well entertained, and in the evening was taken to a room next to the one where the princesses slept. There he was to watch and see where they went to dance. The door of his room was left open so that he would be sure to miss nothing that might transpire. But the prince soon fell asleep, and when he awoke next morning, he found that the princesses had been dancing all night, for the soles of their shoes were full of holes. The same thing happened the second and the third night, so the king ordered that the prince be put to death. After him came many others who were willing to take the risk, but they all had the same luck and all lost their lives in turn. Now it happened that a poor soldier who had been wounded in battle and could no longer fight passed through the country where this king reigned, and as he traveled along the road, he met an old woman who asked where he was going. "I really don't know myself," replied the soldier, "but I think I should very much like to find out where the princesses dance, and then in time I would be a king." "That is not too difficult," said the old woman. "Just be sure you do not drink any of the wine they bring you in the evening." Then she gave him a cloak and said, "When you wear this, you will be invisible, and you will be able to follow the princesses wherever they go without being seen." When the soldier heard all this good advice, he decided to try his luck. So he went before the king and told him he was willing to undertake the task. He was well received, as the others had been, and the king ordered fine royal robes to be given him. And when it was time for bed, he was taken to the room next to the princesses. Just as he was lying down, the eldest of the princesses brought him a cup of wine. But the soldier only pretended to drink it and secretly threw it onto the houseplant. Then he lay down on his bed and in a little while began to snore loudly as if fast asleep. The princesses, hearing this, shook their heads, and the youngest said sadly, "He's like all the others. He too will have to pay with his life." Then they dressed themselves in all their fine clothes and laughed and skipped before their looking-glass as if they could scarcely wait to begin dancing. But the youngest said, "I don't know why it is, but while you are all so happy, I feel very uneasy. I'm sure misfortune will overtake us." "You're a little goose," said the eldest. "You're always afraid. Have you forgotten how many princes have already watched in vain? As for this soldier, even if I had not given him this sleeping draught, he would have slept soundly enough." When they were all ready, they went in and looked at the soldier, but he was still snoring and did not stir. So the princesses felt quite safe, and the eldest went up to her own bedroom and clapped her hands. Instantly, the bed disappeared into the floor, and the princesses descended into the opening, one after another, the eldest leading the way. The soldier watched the princesses as they went down, and then quickly put on the cloak the old woman had given him and followed them. In the middle of the stairs, he stepped on the gown of the youngest princess, who cried out, "Who is that? Who took hold of my dress?" "Don't be silly," said the eldest. "You must have caught it on a nail." Then down they all went, and at the bottom, far underground, they entered a delightful grove of trees. All the leaves were silver, and they shone and glittered beautifully. "I must take some token of this place back with me," said the soldier to himself. So he broke off a little branch, and the loud noise from the tree breaking, and At the loud noise from the tree, the youngest said again, "Now I am sure that all is not right. Surely you heard that cracking noise? That has never happened before." "Nonsense," said the eldest. "That is only our princes heralding our approach." Next they came to another grove of trees, where all the leaves were of gold, and after that a third grove, where all the leaves were glittering diamonds. At each grove the soldier broke off a branch to take back with him, and each time there was a loud noise, so that the youngest princess trembled with fear. But the eldest always told her it was the princes, joyful at their coming. So they went on till they came to a great lake. At the side of the lake there were 12 little boats, each with a handsome prince in it. They had been waiting for the princesses to arrive, and now each prince took his princess with him into his boat. The soldier stepped into the boat with the youngest and her prince. As they were rowing over the lake, the prince who was in the boat with the youngest princess and the soldier said, "I don't know why, but the boat seems very heavy today. I'm rowing with all my strength, but we scarcely seem to move. I am already quite tired." "It does seem so," said the youngest princess. "Perhaps it is the weather. It is very warm today." On the other side of the lake stood a great castle, brightly lighted, from which came the merry music of horns and trumpets. When they had landed, they all went into the castle, and each prince danced with his princess. The soldier, who had been invisible all this time, danced with them too. And when one of the princesses held a cup of wine, the soldier drank it, so that when she put the cup to her lips, she found it empty. At this, the youngest princess was more frightened than ever, but the eldest always silenced her. They danced until 3 o'clock in the morning, when their shoes were worn to pieces, and they were obliged to stop. The princes rowed them back again over the lake, but this time the soldier got into the boat with the eldest princess. On the opposite shore, the princesses said goodbye to their princes, promising to come again the next night. When they reached the stairs, the soldier ran on ahead of the princesses and laid down in his bed, and as the princesses came slowly with dragging steps into their bedroom, they heard him snoring. So they said, "We are quite safe," and undressed themselves and put away their beautiful clothes, put their worn-out shoes under their beds, and went to sleep. In the morning, the soldier decided to say nothing about the strange adventure, for he wanted to see more the next night. So he went with the princesses on the second night and the third night, and everything happened exactly as on the first. The princesses danced as before until their shoes were worn to shreds, and then returned home. On the third night, the soldier brought back one of the golden cups with him as a token. When the time came for the soldier to go before the king with his report, he took the 3 branches and the golden cup with him. The 12 princesses stood behind the door and listened to all that was said. When the king said, "Where do my daughters dance at night?" the soldier answered, with 12 princes in a castle underground." Then he told the king all that had happened, and gave him the 3 branches and the golden cup. The king called for the princesses and asked them whether the soldiers spake the truth. The princesses realized that they were discovered, and that it was no use trying to deny what had happened, so they confessed everything. The king thereupon asked the soldier which princess he would choose for his wife, and the soldier answered, "Since I feel that I know her best of all, and that she knows me a little, I will take the youngest." The king agreed, and they were married that very day, and the soldier was promised that he would be the